Shalum, shalom, and welcome. Welcome to Final Exodus Framework. This is a series, my brothers and sisters, to discuss some things, continually bring to mind the realities of end times. And in this Final Exodus Framework, hopefully, I know that the messages that I present are very repetitive in many ways, shapes, and forms. But Yashar'al, understand this. We even see in what is the so-called New Testament or the New Covenant, where the good news was presented in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Repeated. Some contain more than others, but overall it brings the good news of what is good and the plan of the Almighty Father. The Final Exodus Framework. This message is for those who believe there will be a final Exodus before the physical return of Yahusha Mashiach. If this does not apply to you, then you choose whether to listen to it or not. I want to state the case in this fifth installment of this series, Final Exodus Framework. I want to present the case regarding woman. I will talk a little bit about pre-birth, birth to childhood, teenage and puberty, young adult, adult and marriage, aging to the elders, legacies, and death. I will cover certain things, my brothers and sisters. This is more of a talk. It is more of a presentation to let you know if you are one who is drawn by the Almighty Father to Yahusha Mashiach, these words are to you, my brothers and sisters. But before I get into it, let me just say this. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, management, and or shareholders of this media platform. With that said, let's get into this message, woman. It is said, my brothers and sisters, that a child begins to hear while developing in his mother's womb. Though I am not a doctor, a physician, a biologist, a scientist in any way, shape, or form, I believe that there are some things that are occurring in shaping the woman before birth, just as I spoke of in the fourth segment, talking about man. So there are some things that are happening. In other words, if you as a mother are going through some extreme emotional times, sometimes that leads to stimulants, whether it be alcohol or drugs. Sometimes it leads to a false sense of comfort by someone that might not care about you, may not love you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But as we get into this final Exodus, my brothers and sisters, we must be mindful that there is baggage that we bring. There's history that we bring. There are conditions that we bring. And I believe the path of a woman, though I am not a female, of course, I believe that from pre-birth and from birth to childhood, there are some things that are shaping within that individual. During childhood, as a female, as a woman, they discover that there are men with a different anatomy. Some from brothers and sisters, some from the wickedness we see on TV, some by just pure education. Even as a result of in childhood, they're hearing the discussions of male versus females and then the other perverted stuff that is out there. So as a woman, your mind is being shaped as you go through childhood. We must not neglect that a child began to develop certain behaviors based on what they see. How many of us have seen adults dressing their children provocative and thinking it's cute? How many of us have seen adults take advantage of the child? And how a young woman receives things versus a young man may be a little bit different. Just maybe. This final Exodus. Why is any of this important? I say to you, Yashar'al, this is important because as we begin to come together, there should be a degree of empathy. There should be a degree of understanding. For the young woman, from teenage to puberty, goes through some things. Their bodies begin to develop. Their habits begin to change. They begin to experience a cycle or period, a menstruation. And some, as they go through this, they wrestle with self-esteem issues, self-conscious challenges. And as a young woman, know this, the Almighty Father created each and every one of us as He sees fit. It is our choosing of how we deal with the challenges that we face. The young boys and even the perverted adults will seek to prey on teenage women. And we must educate our women, the woman, of how to be strong, how to resist, and how to make known, how to fight. We must begin to support the woman, the women of our nation, O Yashar'al, and we must demonstrate respect to our woman, to our women. In this final Exodus, know this, from teenage to puberty to young adult, some will choose to have children. Some, it may happen as a result of being taken advantage of, or as the young woman explores her body because she feels that she has transitioned to be the woman that she is. So sure, there's curiosity. And you might say, how can this man talk about a woman? And what does this have to do with the final Exodus? One of the most weightiest of things during these end times, during growing uncertainty, is there are a lot of single mothers. There's a woman with 1, 2, or more children seeking to make the right decisions for each. There is the woman that have children by more than one, children by different fathers, and they're trying to juggle the emotions and the challenges that come with that, while at the same time walking set-apartness. So there's a degree of stress that most men will never experience if they're in that situation. There's the woman that has the child and the husband, the father's nowhere around. There's the woman that has the father, but the father is not demonstrating set-apartness. Yashar'al, it is important for the woman to be supported, for us to recognize what the woman is going through. And as a woman, it is important for us to, I'm saying us. As a woman, it's important for you. Again, I'm a male, heterosexual male. As a woman, it's important for you to help the man understand what you're going through, to enter into dialogue that is set apart. As a woman, know this, you are important to the body of Yashar'al. As a woman, you are used by the Spirit of Yahuah, just as a man in some cases. As a woman, you are a recipient of all that the Almighty Father has for you. And there are men that want you to just serve them and call them Lord and Master and all this wickedness, because they ignore the scripture when it tells the man to love the woman as Yahusha loved the assembly. He says that in marriage, but people forget that Even as a single woman, you represent the bride of Yahusha, just as a single man represents the bride of Yahusha. And there are instructions that we receive to love one another. And as a woman navigates through puberty and young adulthood, many of you hold things in. Many of you take that information that's passed on from one woman to the next, saying, we are built to endure pain, more pain than men. I say to you, O woman of Yahuah, and I say to you as a brother, as an elder, educate the man on what you're going through. Speak on the challenges that you're facing. I say to you, woman of Yashar'al, don't forget your teenage and puberty years, your young adult years. Teach the child continuously. Learn to listen and hear the challenges that they're facing. What does this have to do with the final Exodus? Because sometimes the challenges that the teenage woman, sometimes the challenges of puberty, sometimes the challenges of young adulthood distracts from what the Almighty Father is saying to the woman to do as we move into these last days. End times will cause separations. There will be divisions. There will be things that would happen. O woman of Yashar'al, trust and believe that the Almighty Father will indeed provide you with the instructions and the guidance that is necessary to help you get through these teenage and puberty years, to help you as a young adult. Again, my brothers and sisters, this passage, this series, connected things to the realities and the challenge. One could say we're going to have this final Exodus and then say, well, what's wrong with her? Or if you're a woman, you might say, oh, I'm going through so much. Rise up and be strengthened, my sister. You can get through this, and you shall. Adulthood and marriage, the aging, the elder. Yes, there are women elders. There are women that get old. Throughout adulthood, my sisters, I want to say to you, I know that the woman of Yahuah will face one of the most excruciating challenges in the coming days. Those that have the baby daddy drama or challenge. Those who may be challenged to remove a wicked child from them. Yes, I said it. As a woman of Yahuah, there are going to be some decisions that you may have to make to remove that child. If you truly love the person that gives your child breath, a heartbeat, the person that allows your child to be alive, don't forget it, that it is by the word of Yahuah, as mentioned in Deuteronomy 8:3, man doesn't live by bread alone, but every word. So do we choose our birth child? Do we choose the child that maybe we didn't birth, but we are raising? Do we choose the child over the Almighty Father who gives that child life? You will face decisions. And do not think that as Yashar'al is gathered together, that the baby daddy will be included in that. Whether you married or not married. This is a time, O woman of Yahuah, to discern what he is saying to you as an individual. In some cases, by purging, by removing a child from your midst as you pursue set-apartness, if they are disrespectful and disobedience, that removal will shake them into correction. They'll miss the mother, the aunt, the grandmother. They'll regret what they've done, and in some cases, out of hard decisions, some will be restored, just as the prodigal son, it would be as in the prodigal woman. Male or female, woman. I know it's easy, O woman of Yahuah, for a man or anyone to talk about it. And there are posts that say a mother's love, no one can compete with a mother's love. How can a woman love their child if they don't know Yahusha? They may throw the word out they love, but look around, O woman of Yahuah. Look at the children being reared. Some are being reared without a father. Some are being reared with multiple fathers visiting the home, apartment, or wherever the resident is. And so the children don't know who to imitate or who to learn from, so they grab a little bit of everything from everyone. We must learn how to organize our thoughts. We must understand how we are a part of Yashar'al, our role as a woman, whether single or married. And I will submit in due season how being single, you're still married to Yahusha, how having one wife, you have an opportunity to demonstrate the relationship of Yahusha's relationship to the assembly by having a man and a woman. And then polygyny, how as a man and a woman, that man may have multiple wives, but if he's doing it as ordered by the Almighty Father, as a woman, you would learn what's more important, the set-apart reign or kingdom of Yahuah, or the Western culture that denounced polygyny. You see, my sister, we stand and represent a set-apart nation, Yashar'al. Yashar'al is the result of a polygynous marriage. The 12 tribes of Yashar'al are not all from the same woman of Yashar'al. Even Yahusha himself demonstrates polygyny because as an individual woman, you are the bride of Yahusha. If it's two or more, the two women are the bride of Yahusha. If it's three more, are the bride of Yahusha. If women and men together, whether single, monogamous, or polygynous, together collectively, we are the bride of Yahusha. And we will learn what it means to subject ourselves one to another. It's not just the husband and the wife, as the literal says. It doesn't stop there. It is the relationship with Yahushua Mashiach. Are you not aware, O woman of Yahuah, that there is no marriage after Judgment Day? It is a construct that has been designed by the Almighty Father while we are in these earthen vessels. Why am I ranting or saying this? I want you to be strong. I want you to know that as end times ramp up, you will have to make some hard decisions. Which child stay with you? Which ones will be purged from you? Which needs do each child have? And if you don't have any children, how to focus on what the Almighty Father has for you. And even in aging, carefully choose what you impart on the young woman of Yashar'al. Do not let the bitterness of bad experiences rule the instructions given to the young woman. Learn from the mistakes. Share with the young women. There are women, the woman of Yashar'al, who will present the ideologies of what a good man is, but yet they do not have one. If they are prayed and sensitive to the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah, sure, they could probably present what is set apart. It is possible. But beware of the woman that talks about what it takes to get a good man, and they demonstrate the pain or they hide the pain of loneliness. Beware of the woman who presents her bitterness, her scars, her sores, because of the pain of bad decisions. Yes, woman to woman, let us begin to have, I keep saying let us, woman to woman, I encourage you to begin to have sound discussions with the man, and the man with the woman, and woman to woman. Choose wisely the path that we take, for I know it's challenging. Am I being redundant? Sure. What does this have to do with the final Exodus? As movement ramp up, we're going to see a lot of people respond differently. Some will respond in the strength of set-apartness and walk in obedience, and some will not. Begin discussing, a woman of Yashar'al, with your man. Begin discussings regarding how, as a woman, you play a role in this set-apart nation. How, as a woman, that you are valuable, you are important. How, as a woman, you contribute more than just physical work to this nation. But know this, woman of Yahuah. For those of you who are single and you believe you are being stirred to do a work in set-apartness without being married to a man, you are still the bride of Yahusha. Never forget that. And in spite of some men that will try to put you down, disregard that. Read Isaiah 55:11 and know that the word of Yahuah will go forward and will not return to him void. And his word will be spoken through you as a woman, just as much as a man. Now, do I believe that there is the order of service, the order and structure set by Yahuah where man is the head and man is chosen to lead? Yes. But there are times when men drop the ball, fall outside the boundaries of obedience. Woman of Yahuah, be strong. And just as the Most High opened the mouth of a donkey, and just as it is written that he, if necessary, will cause the stones to cry out, there are scriptures that tell us that we, yes, we, me as a man to you as a woman, men and women, we are greater than stones. We are greater than donkeys. We are the temple, the house of Yahuah. We, you, O woman of Yahuah, we just must learn, and we will learn during this final Exodus, during this time of preparation, during this time of being prepared to be a martyr for Yahusha's name. We will learn our strengths. We will overcome our weaknesses. I believe the biggest challenge, and I want you to begin to discuss this, one woman to another, and discuss it with the men on being a woman of Yahuah. Not as a slave and a servant as they would have you. Believe it or not, as a man who leads his household. And I've been married for over 35 years. And truly, I've learned things that I never could have imagined if I was single. Just as a single person could learn some things that a married couple may not ever imagine. But we must learn that during this final Exodus, during this time of being refined to be unified, O Yashar'al, the things we learn, we can share and they can contribute to coming together in unity, not isolation and segregation from one another. Woman of Yashar'al, ask yourself what is more important, the nation building components, which will include some single women, which will include some monogamous marriages, which will include some polygynous marriages. Let us not push our convictions on another. And I encourage you as a woman, don't push your conviction on another. For I have seen in the coming of days a woman Women saying, I got my husband, too bad for you. Some are actually literally saying that, and some are demonstrating that by waving their husband in front of you. This is wicked. I've seen single women in the coming of days saying, I don't have all the bondage that comes with the man, disregarding that we become in bondage to Yahuah. We become obligated as a result of sacrificing ourselves to Yahuah, as it is written in Romans 12:1, presenting our bodies as a living offering. I've seen polygynous marriages where the sister wives boast on how they help one another and try to make it look like the wife with the one husband is missing out, and vice versa. The various experiences from a single woman to a monogamous to a polygynous, let us understand the dynamics of every position and how it builds the set-apart nation of Yashar'al, and quit battling on that matter. For the final exodus will prove to iron out these differences, and those among us. And I'm saying this in this segment addressed to the woman. Those who kick against what has been laid out will find themselves as contradictions. I believe in Yashar'al, which is a polygynous nation, set-apart nation, but I don't believe in polygyny. Or I believe in being single, for Shalum said it's better to be single. He implied this in scripture. What I'm saying, woman, don't allow people to push their convictions on you. You must, and you will discover the stirring inside will shape you for the position that you will be in the set-apart body. And as you find yourselves growing old, there will be legacies left behind. It's time to recognize, let's clean up these legacies. Let's start thinking about, what do we really want to impart on our children in the event of our demise, our death, our physical death? Let's clean it up. As a body, and you as a woman, clean up what you share and impart on your young daughters or on the daughters of Yashar'al. As a contributing woman of set-apartness, think about what lessons you want to impart, what warnings, what things you desire to say. My sister, end times are here. They are challenging. Pardon the encouragement as I begin to bring this rant, if you may label it as such, to an end. It's easy to talk about what's in the scriptures. It's easy to talk about end time prophecies. We have our differences. One thing's for sure, there will not be a pre-tribulation rapture. One thing's for sure is all the experiences that you as a woman are going through must be addressed in a way that imparts how you are to manage those experiences, how you are to identify the men of Yashar'al in their role as your brother or an elder or your husband. Woman of Yashar'al, know this: you are valuable. You are important. You are not something, you are not some castaway. Woman of Yashar'al, you go through things that we as men may look over. But know this, that will change as the final exodus begin to take shape, as martyrs for Yahusha's name begin to mature, as true chosen leaders of Yashar'al begin to rise. Your role as a woman will become clear. Do not fret, trust and believe. And out of all the challenges that you will face in these coming days, I want to strongly encourage you to read Proverbs 4:23-27, talking about focus. Because believe it or not, knowing the discipline of focusing, knowing how to press into Yahuah, O woman of Yashar'al, will help you get through the pain and agony of a lost child, or leaving a child behind, or the pain and agony if your child left you behind. They could be called into position, a position that the Almighty Father has for them, of which you have no control. Woman of Yashar'al, know that this plan belongs to the Almighty Father. Do not allow the baby daddy drama to be a distraction. Do not allow the child whom you've exposed to things that have caused them to be led astray cause you to turn your back on the Almighty Father. Woman of Yashar'al, seek what is necessary for you to be strong in your worship and obedience, and know your place in the place of man. And yes, I did one talking about men, or the man of Yashar'al. And these are two segments. What's different here is I'm not throwing out a lot of scriptures. But the framework for this final Exodus, we must address the real challenges. We must begin to learn how to vet and examine and identify those who truly know how to love in the set-apart way, whether single, monogamous, or polygynous. What the true love that is given to us by the Almighty Father Yahuah really means, what it looks like, what it looked like, what it resembles. We must learn how to encourage one another. We must learn again how to focus forward. Otherwise, we'll be consumed with the pain and the heartache of what's getting ready to happen, O Yashar'al. Parting encouragement. Trust and believe, my sister. This rant, this talking, this conversation, my sister, may be a waste to some, but just if a tidbit, if something came out to let you know that as a man, I wholeheartedly understand and see the challenges that you face. Know this, O woman of Yashar'al, there are intercessors. There are those whom the Spirit of Yahuah reveals and make known. From being in the mother's womb, to being as a baby girl, going through childhood, teenage, and puberty, as a young adult, going through adulthood, and marriage. Yes, marriage. Again, I say again, whether single, you're married to Yahusha. Whether you're married to one husband, you have an opportunity to experience a literal experience of how Yahusha's relationship is with the assembly. And if you are a husband with multiple wives, as directed and done correctly, if you are a woman among that have sister wives, again, you learn how we collectively are the bride of Yahusha and must submit to him as one. Then we get a chance to see and witness that same thing in a polygynous marriage. And I'm not saying polygamy, I'm saying polygynous, one man, more than one wife. But each one of these dynamics, single, one with one wife or one with multiple wives, are all components of building this set-apart nation. The 144,000, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al will come together. A great multitude will come together. And this coming together, that great multitude will still be a remnant when you compare it to the world population. But in this coming together, there will be coverings. There will be individuals who understand the place of the woman and woman of Yashar'al, you will understand your place. There will be coverings in many shapes and forms. As we come together, we will be fitly joined together. Woman of Yashar'al, be encouraged. You are about to experience some of the most excruciating pain that you could have imagined. But know this, there are some men that understand that pain. There are some men that will repent. There will be some cases where the father will return. There are some cases where the husband will return. From A to Z, there will be some cases where you may never see the father of that child. In some cases, you will. Decisions will be made. And don't think for a moment that you can sneak a man in because he meets your needs, whether it be natural, emotional, mental, or sexual. Woman of Yashar'al, begin having discussions among one another and among the men, especially the leadership. Ask your pastor, your deacon, your leader, your bishop, ask him, what say you regarding you as a woman? Ask them what do they have to say about a woman. If they are those who want to put the woman at their feet and say the woman is just to serve, consider that wickedness and rise up and be bold and say, well, explain to me what it means by treat your wives even as Yahusha treats the assembly. Explain what it means to walk full and filled with the Spirit. Explain what it means to subject yourselves one to another beyond the literal. Explain what it means that there will not be marriage after resurrection. Ask these wicked and erroneous teachers who want to subjugate you as a woman without regards that you are a powerful vessel and component to the body of Yashar'al. For together, collectively, we are the set-apart nation of Yashar'al. We are the children of Yahuah, and each of us have a place of importance. The least among us is the greatest among us. Why? Take that out and we are not whole. O woman of Yashar'al, as a man, I come to you and let you know that there is love for you. There's a place for you. There's understanding for you. There's the ability to listen to you. There's the ability sometimes to yield to you as the Spirit of Yahuah works through you, just as he would work through me or us or the men of Yashar'al. You've been listening to this segment, this fifth installment of Final Exodus Readiness, and I pray that you're able to see that just the topic of discussion alone could be a morsel of encouragement. I'll stop right here, my brothers and sisters, and ask you to stay tuned, for there's much more to come. There are no rewind buttons. We cannot go back on what we did yesterday or last year. There's a reason why Yahusha said, he that looks back at the plow is unworthy and unfit to serve him. There's more ahead of us than behind us. Whether it be dealing with a child or children, whether it be dealing with a husband. You, O woman of Yashar'al, there's so much ahead of you. Learn how to grab control as Yahusha gives you. Learn when to yield and when to stand strong. Be encouraged. Our redemption draws near, and all the challenges that you face, you will overcome them. One way, shape, or form, in the name of Yahusha, you will overcome them. And we as men will be there by your side. We as the set-apart men of Yashar'al will be by your side. You will be covered. The gathering from the four corners of the earth will be done correctly. The rise of the 144,000 in great multitude will bring about unity and wholesome set-apart relationships that are necessary for the building up of a set-apart nation. On that note, I say to you, Listen to these words. If you are a man that listen to this, consider these words. Consider the woman of Yashar'al. If you are a woman that listen to these words, understand that some men get it as much as we can as a man, but all will be okay. My name is Symmanayah. Pray on these words. And if there's anything I said that remotely helps in terms of encouraging you in this journey, consider subscribing. Consider sharing with others. There's so much more ahead of us. My sister, I salute you. I salute the challenges. I pray for your strength to endure. I pray for wisdom for you. I pray that you're able to grow in discernment and make the tough decisions. I cannot imagine the physical pain you will go through as end times separate you from your children or a child or a loved one. I cannot imagine that. I can only reflect on as much as the Almighty Father allows me to experience. But my prayer is for your strength to endure. Let me stop here. And I say to you, be encouraged. It's going to be all right. This plan is the Almighty Father's. Shalom.